Yeah, sounds very interesting. And if I try to a little bit kind of summarize, so you combine a lot of variables. You have the accelerometer data, you have the milk production, you have the milk quality, you have the facial images, and I think you maybe said also video. And 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 do you use like you combine these all nicely in the AI model? What do you look from the acceleration data? Have you kind of first compare it with the video that you know that this is, for example, walking, or this is laying down, or how do you first analyze the acceleration signal, or do you give just the raw data for the AI model?
So we do a time series plots of variety of activity metrics. So lame versus non-lame. For example, how long they are lying down and resting upright, and then how long they are walking around. Terms of walking also, we look at the nuances. Is it a sporadic walking? How fast? How much intensity with which they walk? Or is it a moderate walk? We also look at the ratio between how long the cows are lying down. In this case, maybe they are sitting. For humans, maybe they're comparable. How long they are lying down versus how long they are standing. So the ratio, the number of steps they make during each activity. For example, if you go for 90 minutes walk in the morning outside the barn to get some fresh air, interact with nature. So is there a preferential spot they tend to be go and stand there? Sometimes you also put a rotating brush. They like to go and then get a kind of massage for their body because the brush is constantly rotating. They try to rub their body and they feel good about it because it stimulates the nerves based on the fur and the body structure. So we also look at the cues, what exactly they prefer. So we also look at a variety of steps they make, the movement associated, the nuances, subtleties, and the related activity metrics between lame versus non-lame cows. For the period of 4 weeks, we collected data. Then we look at the average mean value in terms of the activity step count, activity lying, rest time, activity intensity count, and did a comparison to extract that information to be able to correlate with the various ear posture, muscle tension, overall weight tension, nose bunching, the eyebrow, the above the eyelid, the brow tension, position of the eye, etc. So we correlate that information. So primarily because the date and timestamp is also included in the accelerometer data, we were able to correlate with the what the part of the day, morning, afternoon, evening, and then compare this with a variety of activity matrices as well.
Sounds super interesting. I think it's a very advanced model in this kind of situation that you get so much data into it. I think it's very interesting, and I'm not sure if people are doing similar with humans, but I think it's very interesting. I'm not the expert on lameness, but if it's a metabolic thing, you could think that this could in humans this could be diabetes or something like metabolic thing, and combining all this kind of health data or facial images, and I think it could be very interesting to see how this kind of similar approach could work in humans. And basically you have just the two, that you have the ones that go lame and the ones that stay healthy, and you compare those two groups, or those are kind of guiding, and then you try to find. And are you able to predict which ones are going to be lame, and how well in advance? How does it work?
Yes, the we developed a model called dense net model. So that's a model. It's when we combine the dense net and the LSTM, long short-term memory model, we process and analyze our accelerometer data, the visual. We were able to come up with a model that has the ability to predict up to 90 to 95 percentage. But for validating how good in terms of practical 95 percentage, we still need more. experiments need to be done there. So we are at this stage in terms of validation of the model, but we know based on our turkey, broiler, and laying hens chicken study, the models developed. We also know that based on the similar models we have developed for a variety of other applications, this model would be much closer to the practice possible.
Mm. Yeah, sounds interesting. And you were using the Fibion sensor, and I think you said you measured 1 month of data. How important is the data quantity in the training phase of the model, and how important is it in then kind of when you want to predict the lameness? How is the data quantity and its importance?
So the another one we call as it's called animal pain measurement, because we want to really measure what how the pain manifests in the body of the farm animals, how it's being expressed. So down the road, let's say even now there are a few of us researchers are looking at it. When we install automated monitoring systems for dairy cows and other farm animals, there is an immediate need for what we call as HTP, high throughput phenotyping. We want to really continuously collect data. So when I say high throughput phenotyping, the resolution matters. Are we collecting every 1 hour of data, or every second of data, or every few seconds of data? The superior the resolution, the better we can understand the nuances, subtleties, the micro aspects of behavior and physiology. So I think that the stepwise data, the unit of data collection, like every second or every millisecond, is very important. Perhaps not so much for dairy cows. Even we were looking at every minute of data. When we started at every second, data becomes humongous. Then we said, okay, every 15 seconds or every 30 seconds of data is enough, because cows doesn't really do a lot of activity. So we have to make that call based on the context, based on the type of type of species also. If it's a smaller animal for chicken or other animals, then maybe every 15 seconds would be ideal. For cow, even a minute or every 5 minutes, every 3 minutes of data is okay. We can still make specific assessments and develop high throughput phenotyping. But if a particular animal is going through a specific disease progression stage, if it's a dry cow, or if it's lame, or if it has a certain mastitis, in the teats of the cow, sometimes bacterial infection happens. It's a mastitis disease happens. So the milk gets contaminated and then they suffer a lot. So during those phase, when we put sensors, can actually every minute or even every 30 seconds, if we can assess and collect the data and do analysis, that would much more enriched quality of information about the pain related indicators. We call them as subtle indicators or iceberg indicators, even before the pain manifests. For example, you and me, we are talking, you are nodding your head. Sometimes your eyebrows becomes bigger. You are blinking maybe few times every, say, 30 seconds. How many times you blink? What kind of angle with which your upper and lower lips, expand and contract? What is the angle here that happens? So that's macro. But when we look at micro expressions of the faces, they are like seconds, like 3 to 5 seconds. Within the 3 to 5 seconds, how the whole micro expressions changes. So there are artificial intelligence can clearly find out. So it's been used by CIA and other, even Interpol. They use that for human beings to look at, because when a person is lying, saying something beyond the truth, micro expressions will clearly reveal. Macro expressions you can try to pretend as a human being. But again, from the animal perspective, animals don't lie. They say what it is clearly expressed. There is no grayscale in terms of expression of emotions. So it's always black and white. There is an intensity associated to it in terms of the violence. If you're frustrated, disappointed, joyful. aggression, happiness. So the manifestation of the variety of emotions in terms of the intensity is directly proportional and dependent on the resolution of the data we collect. So from that context, for example, in a dairy cow, when the cow goes to mastitis, the superior the resolution of the data, better quality of indicators, pain and welfare we can collect and assess. Behavioral combination of physiology and other welfare indices. So from that context, it's very, very important. There is all because so has a date and time stamp that's really neat. It also has the ability for real time lightweight. So we don't really burden the animal with heavy devices. They don't even feel it. It's 100% non-invasive. But on the other side, it's not rugged enough because it's a very dirty environment, harsh environment. So the device has to go through all of those. Else we have to keep on watching that the device doesn't go dysfunctional during the data collection. So it's a trade-off we have to consider in terms of usage of the devices for farm settings.
And maybe asking this at this stage, how do you attach the sensor? Because I think with different animals, I think that's the challenge, how to attach the sensor that the animals don't mind it, and how to make it that it stays and it doesn't fall. So how do you attach?
Yeah, so we just put in a small polythene sheet and then we have a Velcro tape. We put it on the kind of double sided thing. So we wrap around the leg of the cow, just about the hoof near the ankle. And then the pouch goes in there and then we strap it around. So so the cows doesn't feel 100% non-invasive. And because of the plastic, when the cows walk around, it also protects the sensor from moisture, manure, and other good.
Hmm. And it stays for month or months with this method, and you don't need to do anything. You just wirelessly transfer the data, and that's all.
That's right. So our students, they went to the farm, barn. They just stand a couple of, feet away from the cow through their mobile phone. They transfer the data periodically from the sensors. So there is no removing of the sensor every day and putting it back. So from that, yes, it's relatively easy and less burdensome for both the data collector and as well as.
Yeah. And the other animals, I guess, I think you said that you have also measured sheep and chicken. Do you attach the device in the same way, or what kind of way you use it?
Yeah, so we did not use Fibion for sheep and chicken. We used a different
Yeah.
brand sensor. I also recall many years ago, I think 17, we were actually looking at Arduino board, it's big Texas Instruments and the Arduino board, and it's so heavy and bulky.
Yeah.
Now it has become so small, and accelerometer is like, few grams. It's easy to put it. So for the chickens, yes. So we have to we hold the chicken, we tie it around the leg. There are two types of data we collect. One is below the wing of the chicken,
Yes.
and one in the leg of the chicken. So two positions we were able to do it. Sometimes they tend to peck. So the wing of the chicken is a bit difficult because it kind of restrict their movement. The leg is relatively easy because the sensors are so small, and we just wrap around using an elastic band with a small pouch. They just for a few weeks and we're able to collect the data. But ideally, when we collect the data, we are slowly moving away from accelerometer. But although accelerometer comes with the enriched data in terms of the positioning, whether they, for example, chickens tend to fly and jump and pitch. So that can be calculated. The lateral movement, sagittal movement, vertical movement with respect to XYZ can be calculated. But now there is because of the welfare issues, non-invasive requirement, we have been developing some video-based analytics based on, we developed a tool called Track using YOLO. You only look once. That's a tool we developed. So that we can actually find out how or they are moving from water feeding to a particular place, how many steps they make. So it's mostly based on video-based data. we have been collecting for just for chickens alone. But it's not 100% automated. The enriched quality of information is still lacking because of the unique possibility of the XYZ values provided by us.
Hmm. And do you think you said that the video is good? For example, chicken. There's a lot of them in one farm, and the device is quite big for them. Do you see that it's good? Maybe accelerometer good for bigger animals, and the video is better for the small, or is there? Where do you think this is heading?
Yeah. So right now in farm animals, we do use accelerometers all the time, constantly. There are companies like NADAP, and there are other few companies, the Alflex and other. They sell the collar-based sensors. But they are a little bit bulky, but because it's in the neck, again, sometimes we have issues with connectivity. Sometimes the data is lost. So we put it on them. It's not a real time continuous monitoring. We kind of store the data. Later, we connect it to a device and then upload the data. So it's not really Bluetooth possibility or data transferring possibility. But I know there are few research that's happening in Netherlands and other countries of real-time data collection of a variety of activity-related information. Dealable in Sweden, Lely in Netherlands, NADAP in Netherlands. There are few companies in United States. They are currently looking, hey, we can do this, we can do that. Lots of research and innovation is happening along these areas. So yes, generally speaking, it's better for bigger animals. We currently already use them as we speak, but the Fibion's unique advantages is very small. It's much, much, much smaller. At least that's my perspective and experience in terms of the weight. It's easy to put it on again, it's developed primarily for humans. The second thing is the data transferring capability is also
Yeah, and
the ease of use of data collection.